Chairman Cornyn, thank you. Again, thank you to all of the witnesses. I begin with the theory that a considerable amount of the evil in the world is supported by a shadow financial system that operates to accomplish two things. One, protect these criminals and kleptocrats' assets behind rule of law, while at the same time protecting the criminals and kleptocrats' assets from rule of law, which is accomplished by secret accounts and secret means of transferring funds, and that it's dangerous to all of us, and we need to focus on it. Dr. Levitt, what is the trick with free trade zones that Hezbollah and others can take advantage of? What's the vulnerability there that Senator Cassidy's and my bill is trying to cure? Could you just explain how this works?
In the simplest terms, without meaning to be terribly pithy, it's the lack of law enforcement, it's the lack of customs. You can bring in a truck and no one's checking it. You can open a company, call it an import-export company, and you can move whatever you want in and out because it's there to promote business, to promote access to foreign currency. And in countries where there's not an interest in having a law enforcement or regulatory oversight of any kind, a free trade zone provides literally a free zone in which activities of almost any kind are tolerated. And so we've seen Hezbollah over the years in those rare cases where press coverage or rare government action against their activities in one free trade zone shortly after 9/11, for example, in the tri-border area, put pressure on them, they moved to others. So Iquique, Chile, or a free trade zone in Belize just south of the Mexican border, or the Panama Canal Zone, or a whole bunch of others. But the Chileans, for example, they watched, they documented Assad Barakat and members of his clan just move or expand in some cases, in other cases actually move their import-export companies to Iquique and just opened it all up. Now, to their credit, they were on top of it, and it's well documented in the Chilean intelligence reports that have since been declassified. But this is not new at all.
Money laundering can be accomplished not just with currency, but with goods as well, correct?
Trade-based money laundering
is an important part of solving this problem.
Yes, sorry for interrupting, sir. Trade-based money laundering is exceptionally effective. You don't even have to, you don't move any cash at all. You move a good that seems to have a legitimate purpose in moving from point A to point B. And then you're able to either sell that good or use it yourself. If it's a foodstuffs, you can give it to your people. It's a very effective way to move value, and it's one that Hezbollah has used many, many times over the years and continues to use today.
Particularly if the pricing of the transited good does not reflect market value.
You can under-invoice it, you can over-invoice it. There's lots of ways to make money on the laundering process as well.
Mr. Billingslea, first of all, thank you for your work on getting through to beneficial ownership. Let me put my letter to the Treasury Secretary into the record requesting that he step up to the responsibilities of the our Corporate Transparency Act. Can you give some examples of how an American shell corporation has been used to advance the interests of foreign criminal or strategic adversaries?
Senator, without getting into the particulars of the arguments over the beneficial ownership registry, I will say I very quickly registered my LLC with FinCEN when it was required. It took me 5 minutes.
Yeah, it takes about 5 minutes for a regular company.
And I would just say, you know, during the years of the Obama administration, when I served as managing director at Deloitte, one of the main things that I did was I would charge companies to research the ultimate beneficial ownership of prospective clients and prospective vendors. Made a lot of money doing that, and it was unnecessary. If we'd had a beneficial ownership registry, nobody would have to pay for it.
Let me ask you one last thing as my time runs out. Imagine a world in which we had collectively made governments sponsoring secret accounts that hide assets as unacceptable as governments allowing child labor. What would the security and law enforcement consequences of a world like that be for the average American?
The opacity of shell corporations. Now, there are some cases where shell corporations are legitimate for tax optimization reasons and so on. But the opacity that comes in a jurisdiction which does not have a beneficial ownership registry, in my view, poses a significant threat. We have seen so many cases, including here in the United States, where, let's just take the Venezuelans, where so many of the regime officials created shell companies here to hold real estate, to hold planes, to hold, all kinds of tangible property. Having been president of the Financial Action Task Force, which is the global anti-money laundering watchdog during the Trump administration, the principle of having a beneficial ownership registry is a global standard. Now, we here in the United States have a number of offsetting capabilities that other countries don't have that ameliorates that and allows our law enforcement to continue to function without such a registry. But there is no question that the lack of transparency in corporate structures is a threat to our national security.
Thank you.